My name is John Nelson, and this is my 1963 C30 dually. Yeah, so it's a 1963 C30. It's got a 1963 Suburban as the bed. So the roof of the Suburban, the top of the Suburban was cut off and set down, and then a custom frame from the cab back was done. The truck was actually started by David Neal. He's the one who was kind of the mad scientist behind this whole truck, and then he, I guess, pawned it off to me, as you would say. But it's got a 94 Dodge Cummins 12 valve in it with the NV 4500 5-speed transmission. It's got a 04 Chevy 2500 rear end, airlift system on it with custom cut 24-inch Alcoas. It's just kind of Frankenstein together. I had the truck back in 2020. Believe it or not, I traded a side-by-side for it, and it was a project when I got it, and then I completed the project and then sold it in 21, and then I just bought it back about 4 months ago. Yeah, I mean, growing up, I've always been fond of the mini truck scene and stuff like that. And then my grandpa had a farm up in Minnesota, and he had old Chevy trucks and stuff. So I've always just liked that body style and just the way they look. And I was just scrolling on Marketplace, and I saw this thing, and it didn't look anywhere like this when I got it. But yeah, I just kind of wanted something that was different, something that stands out. I mean, the wheels were kind of my favorite because it had actual semi Alcoas on it with big semi tires when it was first built. And then I bought these Alcoas for it. I like the old stuff just because it stands out, it's different. I don't like your plain Jane, ordinary stuff. My buddy Chet, he owns a hot rod shop down in Lebanon, Missouri, and he's the one that kind of did the whole air ride system for me. He did the wiring when I owned it the first time. His shop really kind of brought the truck to life from when I first had it, and you know, he was really busy at his shop and then was like, yeah, hey, bring it in and I'll get it done. So he really helped me a lot with that one because I was so anxious to drive it and have fun with it, and at that time I didn't really have a place to work on the truck. I was in between, you know, move-in and everything else. So I've got a lot of good buddies that whenever the rear end blew up on it, they were like, hey, I know this guy. So Craig's Customs, you know, they really helped me out in a tight spot and got the rear end done. Future plans would be just to kind of, I don't know, soup it up a little bit. I don't want to go too crazy because at the end of the day, it's just a cruiser. I like to take it around and drive it up and down the highway or take it to shows. But I plan on probably putting a bigger turbo on it, or, you know, different intake system, fuel system, stuff like that. Because right now it's just a stock motor and stock everything else pretty much. So. It technically is a GMC cab, but the front end's been swapped to a Chevy front end, so it had the big bubble front ends, which in my opinion were ugly. So the cab is a GMC, but the front end, the fenders, the hood, and all that, it's actually Chevy. Then it's got a 94 Dodge Cummins 12 valve in it with a NV 4500. And then it's got the, one thing I like is these Holley retrofits are really nice. So they look old school, but they're LEDs and they light up everything. I mean, they're, for the money, you can't beat them. Then it's got the painless wiring harness. So the painless wiring harness just eliminates all the old stuff, so it's all brand new. There's no electronics on this motor. It's actually all mechanical. I shut the fuel off with the cable to shut the truck off. So you turn the key on to start it, and then when you shut it off, you just pull the cable. So there's, I mean, you got your wires for the starter and alternator, and that's it. That's literally all that's in the cab. The front suspension, it's got the Air Ride Tech upper and lower A-arms, and then it's got the airbags in there with the C30 square body spindles, and then the custom cut Alcoas, which these are 24s. I planned on doing a different style wheel. I kind of want to go to a smaller wheel, because before on the 22s it actually laid the frame. Now it's like this close, just a little bit lower. And then obviously tinted windows, because you got to be able to. But the truck was an old farm truck. It actually didn't have a bed. That's why the Suburban was put on there. But it's got a snowed-in seat, just a custom steering wheel, Dakota digital gauges. So when you turn the key on, it all lights up. And then as far as the back, so like I said, it's a Suburban bed, so the whole roof was cut off a Suburban. This was laid down, custom frame was built. It's got 55 Chevy fenders that were spliced and extended to make the dually fenders. The rear frame was done by Dustin DeLone. He's the one who built the rear frame out in Texas with a Chevy 2500 rear end out of a 04 Chevy truck.